What can you learn from this couple after 14 years of marriage? On this segment of A Scared to Remarry. What's up, Brave Arts community? This is Shon Hyneman back with another segment, and we are excited about today's segment because we have first time guests on a platform. And so, whenever we can get married couples on here, I love to do the married couples because we get the husband and wife perspective. So, this is a special episode. Brave Hearts community, let's show some love to Paris and Alicia Dancy. How are you doing this evening?
How you doing? How y'all
Hey,
doing?
hey, Braveheart.
Hey, how are y'all doing? I'm excited about this episode. So I want to make sure that I value your time. So can you both tell us a little bit about yourself individually?
Absolutely. My name is Paris. I am been married 14 years, 19 years with this beautiful woman, and currently we are working on our businesses together. We've navigated this life together through hardships, through the great times, and we just on here just to give some information and give y'all a realistic look into marriage over our 14 years.
Hey, guys, I'm Alicia Dancy, wife to this wonderful gentleman right here. I am the owner of Victoria Styles, image consultant and personal stylist firm, and the owner of the Victoria Styles Sweet Boutique. Also, thriving health, 18-year career in healthcare. We've done it all, the ups, the downs, and we just wanted to join in into the conversation and show a different perspective from the side of be crazy enough to actually stay together and make it through it. Because you need a little bit of crazy.
A little bit.
Just a little bit.
That's true, just a little bit, yeah. Because after 14 years, and congratulations on 14 years, because
Thank you.
by today's standards and today's culture, people, they divorce in 6 months, three, so um, yeah, congratulations on the 14 years. I want to jump into today's segment and I want to discuss the first question. And so, whoever want to take the questions first or answer first, there's no wrong answer, so it's open. I wanted to ask, looking back after 14 years of marriage, what is the biggest myth about love that you had to unlearn?
We were talking about this, and I think the biggest thing that we've learned is that love is not all that it takes. It's the main ingredient, but love alone is not going to save a marriage. It won't save relationships a lot of time. There's other factors that play in. Other ingredients you got to mix in there. We commitment, the grace, the understanding, the accountability. There's a lot of different roles that are played into maintaining the marriage, especially when it comes to understanding that love alone is not going to be the one thing that fix all.
I believe, to piggyback on what Pri said, love is the foundational ingredient that's needed for any marriage that wants longevity and success. However, you do need all the other aspects of what it takes to do life well together. And so that would definitely be something we had to learn coming in to young people that were in love. Okay, now we are in love, but what's next?
Yeah,
Love itself is not enough.
yeah. Yeah, because the Disney movies, we grew up on, and it's the knight in shining armor and all that. It's like, oh, love is all we need. Mary J. Blige had the song "Love Is All We Need." And it's like, and we find out that yeah, it takes more. And I'm glad that you broke both agree on that because we need to tell our younger generations and
Yes.
even those who aspire to marry, like, okay, that's cool. Like, we need love, but there's so much more if we want to do this until you know, for the rest of our lives. So
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
yes.
But you
So
need love, though. Let's not forget that part.
oh yeah, it's
You
important.
do need love. Because there's a
It's,
whole nother element to that. You need love now.
That's right.
that's true. That's true. Yeah, I gotta love you, right? I mean, that gotta be the basic.
Some
We
people
date,
think you don't need it in a marriage, and to each his own. But for those that want, I would say, a successful marriage that is, really the foundation of love is God, right? And
yeah.
so it's crazy to think that you can have something that He created without Him.
Mm, love that. That's good. Yeah, because I always tell people God didn't create marriage to be more fulfilling than Him. And so when people do get married, they all of a sudden they're like heartbroken because they're like, I thought marriage was the finish line. I thought that was the goal. And it's like, no, y'all just getting
At the
started.
beginning.
That's right.
Right? Y'all just getting started. Yeah. So if you all have any questions for today's guest, make sure you drop them below and we will get those questions out to you. So every marriage has defining moments. What season almost changed the trajectory of your marriage forever?
Whew. That's a loaded question right there, Sean.
Yeah.
There was many. Um, or is the truth.
Yeah.
However, I would say when, because we started very young. I was 19, Paris was 25, just graduating college. So, and then we got married in our 20s. Me early 20s, him later 20s, and like really just starting off marriage, not just the relationship, but marriage. Paris got sick, and so he battled a brain. He had a massive brain tumor, so
Mm,
that literally changed the trajectory of everything, really, um, career wise for him, the vision and plan that we thought was supposed to be for us. Um, and so that's still something that we are dealing with today, navigating through, of course, now with knowledge and thank God for a medical background. But
mhm,
for me, him getting sick so early on in our marriage,
mm,
was a defining moment.
mm,
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say also, along with that, even yeah, as we've navigated that part of my life with the health, she suffered a loss, a significant loss in 2021, when both of her parents um,
Passed away four
passed
months
away.
apart.
Yeah, passed away 4 months apart. Very, very unexpected. And it was a tough time in watching her go through that, but being supportive in any way that I could. And then 2023, she ends up in the hospital. She's
Mhm.
fighting for her life, dealing with severe sepsis. And they were trying to find out what was going on, and watching, and they give them calls as to, hey, you might as well go ahead and get prepared. They were literally preparing me for her to pass away, getting calls, getting people coming by. And, when you're sitting there, you can't accept that fact that that's going to happen to someone that you care and you love about.
yeah.
That's one of those things where I knew the shift in our marriage. It had already started when she was ready to take care of me when we found out what happened.
Mm,
But to be able to be in a position where I was willing and able to reciprocate that to her, that's a big thing. I love her, and you know,
Oh, I love you
I know you, man. This my woman right here, man. I
That's
can't imagine life without her at this point, for where we've done, what we've built, what we've continued to grow in those areas. But those seasons also brought us very close together too. It changed our marriage for the better, because it allowed us to see that when we were in a situation, you can always talk about if you're going to be there for somebody,
yeah.
but when it comes up,
what
do
you're
you
going
show
through.
up, or do you bounce out? Do you roll out? Do you find an excuse not to be there? It's too tough for me. Nah, I'm not going to abandon her just like she didn't abandon me.
Yeah. Wow.
Definitely.
That's yeah.
It's a lot to unpack, John.
Yeah, yeah,
We don't even have the time, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's a powerful testimony because, like you said, when the rubber meets the road and life happens, are you going to be there? Because it's all good when there's roses and candy and flowers, and life happens,
yeah,
and rarely are we like kind of prepared for these things. They just
yeah,
happen.
yeah.
You know, oh,
Definitely.
that's my God. So, how has your faith changed the way you handle conflict compared to when you were first married?
Mm, that's big. I'll let you go first,
You want me to get this one?
baby.
All right, let me get this one. So it's definitely grown. It's gotten better. She laughing because she knows where I'm going with this. Um, uh, there was times when we both been tested,
Yeah.
and I can say that. But one thing that I do, and I practice it, and anybody that I work with, my clients, if the opportunity presents itself, I always tell them, man, go to Proverbs. I started out Proverbs. I read that just like my daily vitamin. I know I could take one every day of the month, but also I can apply whatever I've learned that day. You know what I mean? Whatever I read. And as I started to read more and more and getting opportunities to being able to apply that, I started to see that when I handle certain conflicts with her, it started to get better, or she started to pick up and notice it. And it was vice versa as well, because she started doing some of those things and we started seeing each other in a different light, and communication got way better. The way that we noticed the awareness in each other that, okay, something's going on. She may not want to talk about it right now. I may not want to talk about it right now. But at some point, we know to come back to each other. Or if it's something that I know she needs to get off, she needs to talk about it. There's a time where you just sit there, you just be quiet and you listen. But it's not directed at me. I just know she needs to get it out to someone safe.
Yeah.
So the way the faith has played in our ability to be able to um, handle conflict, it's the number one thing that we turn to. You know, I always turn to the Lord, and Lord, just help me. Sometimes I don't even have the answer. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm just
Right.
like, Lord, just help me. I'm gonna take
That's
some
real.
time,
Right?
and I know something's gonna come through.
For me,
Mhm.
I would have to say faith, increasing our faith within our marriage taught us to surrender.
Mhm.
To know what we could handle and what we can deal with versus we got to turn this over.
Yeah.
And we have to trust and know that God's word is his word. He's not a man that he should lie. And this one, we got to surrender to him and just follow his lead on this.
Yeah.
So for me, increasing my faith within my marriage and in general in life, just taught me the ability and to know how to rest in true surrender.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. So good. Yeah, because I have those internal conversations with myself and God before I end up getting off my rocker. You know, I was like, Lord, she's your daughter.
Yes.
I, I, Lord, you know what I'm saying? And I sometimes I can't even finish a sentence. You know,
Why
and
you think I laugh when he said, "Oh, sometimes all he can do is Lord help me," because
yeah,
I know I probably
yeah.
be getting on his nerves sometimes. He like, "Lord, all right, now
Oh my
you
God,
gotta
yeah,
fix it."
gotta fix it because I can't do it because yeah, because I'm learning because I would be frustrated about my wife. I'll be, you
Yes,
know, and I'll be like, you know what, God, let me help me to just pray for her. Just let me just pray for
give me some
her.
understanding on this, Lord.
Yeah, yeah. Help me to renew my mind because one thing that God showed me was because a lot of times, therapy is a beautiful thing. I love therapy. Um, I mean, works wonders. You know, sometimes
Mhm.
you just need
I
that
agree.
third party, right?
I agree.
And I remember my prayer time, God was saying to me like, the work is renewing your mind. That's the work.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times people be like, do the work, but what is the work?
Mm-hmm.
You can go to therapy and still not apply what you learn.
Mm.
And
So
so I was
true.
just like, yeah. So I'm like, oh, so doing the work is renewing our mind, and then not only renewing our mind, but like the Bible talks about how, be not only hearers of the word but doers. And it's like, so am I able to walk this out, knowing what I know about the word? I'm like,
Yeah,
that's the work. The work is thinking different
and applying it.
and
Absolutely.
applying.
Yes. And
Yeah.
one thing, Paris, I'm telling you, it's been a blessing. You know how they say God knows all things.
Mhm.
He knew I needed to be married to a mental health professional. But one of the things he has really helped me see in different seasons is that although something may look the same, it's not always the same. And
Mm.
so you don't approach it, don't resort back to old ways of
Yeah.
approaching a situation just because you start seeing some familiarity.
Mhm.
Really, take time to see the situation with through new lens, through a renewed mind, and then deal with it.
Yep. Yep. Amen to that. Because it's an everyday battle. You got every day.
That's right.
Every
That's real. Sure.
That's right.
Most people won't admit that, but that's real
It
right
is.
there.
Mhm. Yeah. Every day you wake up, that you start all over again, renew the mind, start. Um, so if a newly divorced Christian asks you, how do I know I'm ready to love again? What do you tell them?
I would personally have to say, I would have to be honest with them in the sense of that is not something that we've personally had to walk through, being divorced and remarrying, um, in the traditional sense. Because I'm the start of a queen. Like we will start over within this marriage.
Yeah.
so, so let me say that. But I would definitely have to ask them, have you done the work?
Mhm.
Um, do you feel, do you, are you still triggered by certain things, or that's, or certain, or that person in general,
Mhm.
right? When you are still triggered in ways that you shouldn't be, then I would say take your time and make sure you're genuinely ready, because of course if you are seeking marriage again, you don't want to make the same mistakes that you made before. So
Right.
with that being said, make sure you're healed, make sure you're ready, and you've done the work to move forward.
Mm.
And just to piggyback on what you guys both have said, as far as the renewing of the mind, I approach it just like I approach with my clients. And when I get somebody that's talking about that and they're saying those things, hey, I'm ready to get back into a relationship again, but I'm not too sure. Okay, so do you think that you would handle certain situations the same way again? A lot of them aren't sure how they would do it or what would happen. Are you aware of what flags you want to stay away from this time? Some of those red flags that come up. How's your self awareness? Are you aware of your own red flags that you might
Mm,
have or things
good.
that you forgot about
Say
that
that.
was brought up in the other relationship? I think too often people go into a new relationship not realizing that they're a different person,
Mm,
whether you like it or not. I almost look at it the same way as trauma, because there was a sudden change. You may not have been expecting that this was going to end. I knew this was going to be the person I was going to be with, but we ended up getting divorced. I thought I did everything right. I thought I did everything according to the word. I thought everything
mm,
was done the way it's supposed to, or this was the finish line. Hey, we got married. We're supposed to be good. It's a whole nother level of work that has to be done, a whole nother mindset shift that has to take place, perception, how you communicate, understanding certain languages between you and your partner, understanding that relationship alone, that you guys got to be on the same page on whatever you're doing moving forward, and making sure that you find that person that's going to align with your values. They're going to align with the mindset, and not just say it, but they're going to demonstrate it before you
mm.
guys make that next step.
Mhm. And I want to ask this question because it's not in my notes. How do you get your spouse? How do you? Because I think marriage is like the ultimate team sport, right? How do you get your spouse on board
Mm.
with whatever the vision is? uh because Paris, you let me know. I mean, I know, it's like, the man is the head of the home, and so does it start with the man, or is it a collaborate? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I believe that the man presents the vision. If before me and her got together, we already had a vision of what we wanted life to look like. She saw things in me. She saw me as a boss. She was saying all these things. I see you as an owner. I see you as a boss. I saw a
Mm.
lot
Speak
of those
life,
things.
ladies.
She did, and then I
It
will
came
credit her
true.
with that. Now, did I have the full plan all together initially? I definitely didn't. But I knew, and she knew that, okay, I know whatever it is, he's passionate about it. He's got the ambition, he's got the drive, he's got the work ethic. He has all of those things, the intangibles that's necessary in order to reach it. You got to be consistent though. And I think that's one of the major things that we dropped the ball on is, if the plan diverts just a little bit because it didn't look like what it was supposed to look like when we talked about it, then all of a sudden the whole plan goes out the window. We're gonna do whatever we got to do. Sometimes it could trigger people to go into survival mode if that's what
Hmm.
they're used to, because okay, you know what, you said you had me, but you don't got me. You know what I mean? Different little things that come up, but you work through those things. You communicate. You talk about it. You start to recognize, okay, hold on, the plan is still the same. We just got a little bit of we got off track real quick. How do we get back on track? I think the more consistent that a man is in that,
Hmm.
then your teammate's going to be willing to be able to, okay, I could buy into the vision. I could see what my part is. I could see where I can make it better. I could see where, you know what, if we do this together, for instance, I know that there's things that I'm weak in that she's strong in, and there's things that she's weak in that I'm strong in, but we recognize that, we're aware of it, and we use those to our strengths rather than a weakness, and we just continue to build on that. And as we've gotten to that point, I could say that she has been on with the vision. You know, she's been on board with it. I can see it. I understand what you're doing now. And I think we talked about that on the way over. It's a stability thing. You know, a woman has to feel safe and understand that you understand what stability is for her. You know, it may not look the same for everybody, but for who you're with, do you
Mhm.
understand what stability is to them and what that safety looks like?
Which you need to take the time to communicate those things.
Absolutely.
You want her to be a part of something, but you're not telling her the role that you need her to play. To piggyback on what you said, Sean, it's the ultimate team, right? And any type of successful team, when they win, they've communicated. Each person knows their role, each person. So that is the big thing. A lot of times you want her to do something or be a part of something that you have not set down and made the, what you call it, the playbook for.
The playbook.
So
Mhm. Mhm.
how can she play her role if she doesn't even know the playbook, or you haven't communicated what you need for her from her?
Yeah.
And I would say to my strong ladies, yes, because it took me some time to get to this point.
Yeah.
I would say I have learned to grow and be independently independent, if that makes any sense.
Mhm.
I have not lost my independence and just doing all the things, the corporate job, the business, and all of that. But I have learned to depend on, hey, babe, what do you think about this? I include him more now that he has clearly given me the vision, that
Yeah.
I have seen the consistency now. I trust him enough to run things by him, and then we make a collective decision on what's going to be good for the whole,
Mhm.
right? Not just me succeeding or him succeeding, which is great because either one of us succeeding means we both succeed. But the
Mhm.
reality is, I want to soar, but I also want to see him soar.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I have learned that it's important, once you have that man, or once you get into a space with your man or your spouse, um, that you can trust them, and they have shown you that they understand what you need in stability, and they have been consistent in that. Then drop your guard a bit and give them that room to lead.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, that's so good because a lot of I'll get some inboxes from single ladies, and hey, John, help me find a husband, or all this other stuff. And a lot of times my thing is like, how, if you want a leader, what does the leader look like? What does he look like? Not just physically, but what does leadership look like to you?
Yeah.
For me, I would say definitely, and we did speak about this. This is the part of marriage or any relationship that I think is skipped over or overlooked. It's
Hmm.
literally custom to the two people in it, right? So what looks like a leader for me and works for me may not work for you. So then you got to do the work within to figure out what is that for you.
Yeah.
And you take advice and bits and pieces of things, but you cannot then say, oh, this worked for Sean, or this worked for Alicia, or this
Hmm.
worked for Paris, and let me do this. No, you have to then customize it for the person that's within that marriage with you.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no one fix or one all be all. You need to work that thing for the two people involved.
Mhm.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. Yeah, because I always tell people marriage is so unique that it has its own fingerprint.
That's
I
right.
like that.
What both of you have,
I like
nobody else in the world can do it. It might look similar, but
that.
it does not have the same fingerprint. And that's one of the beauties of marriage, is because nobody can do exactly what the two of you do.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And so once we kind of frame marriage like that a little bit, it kind of helps marriages look more like vision wise. Like, what do you want your
Mhm.
future to look like? It's so much more than you just working and paying bills, and
Yes.
so
And
yeah.
that might be an element too, Sean, that if more married people understood that, they would actually choose to stay married. Or if they went in knowing that marriage is individual to the two people that's involved in it and not everything else around them, they might be more likely to set that vision in place, set that plan, and work that thing
Yeah.
Mhm.
with the two of them in mind, not everything else around them.
Yeah.
Mm, that's good. That's good. I like that. I like that. I want to ask this question. What unhealthy relationship habit did each of you bring into the marriage that you eventually had to confront? I mean, we all have
You
I
or
got a
had,
laundry list, okay?
had them. Yeah.
A laundry list. But I would just hit on two main ones. For me, just the not really even knowing what marriage looked like. I didn't grow up. So that's we come from two total different backgrounds. So that's
Mhm.
another element. You got
Oh yeah.
difference that you have to merge, right? You
Mhm.
have to figure out. Um, he come from, his parents, shout out to my in-laws. Um, 44 years still together, married, happily married. It so there was a certain kind of environment element that he grew up in. Myself, my parents had me when they were teenagers, and that was they never were together my whole life, and they passed the same year, 4 months apart, but they were never together. And so I didn't grow up around, what marriage was, what marriage looked like, all those things to even have a head start in knowing. So I had to kind of debunk the bits and pieces and different things that I pieced together what marriage was supposed to be like, and then really learn this is what marriage is, this is what being a wife is, you
Mhm.
know, but doing that within the marriage. And then two, on which is crazy because I built a thriving career on good communication, but
Mhm.
initially with us not having healthy communication, I had to unlearn all the ways that I thought was communication,
Yeah.
for us to be sitting here today. Like, I'm just being honest about that. My communication skills were horrible. But instead of me going the route of, oh, this is who I am and that's just how it's always been, I took a lot of things as a challenge. Those things that he pointed out to me, I took it and I used it as a challenge to grow,
Mhm.
not just in the our marriage, but in every area of my life. And it has helped me become very successful in doing so.
Mhm.
and she's grown into an amazing woman. Her
Mhm.
communication skills is off the chart. And I'm a
Now,
huge advocate, and she
now,
knows I'm big on, I'm always going to say, look outside the box. Sometimes we're looking for all these different things. We're trying to put them in, but I saw qualities in her that was a wife from the moment that we met, the conversations that we had, regardless of what her background was, all those things that I wanted in a wife and a woman, she embodied all of it.
Mhm.
So I wanted to make that clear with her real quick on that. But
now.
also, one of the things that I brought in, and me and her talk about this, is I wasn't a liar, but the omission. When you
Yeah.
leave
Yeah.
certain things out, you leave out details. And I was trying to be slick, as sometimes early on. Nothing disrespectful towards her, but I wouldn't bring her in on a lot of things. I was like, well, you don't need to know all that. It's not that important for you to know. But it was building trust between us. It was building that, hey, you know what? I know whenever you go do this, I know that's what you're handling, or I know how to be able to help with that. And sometimes I'm keeping stuff away that she could help with, and not realizing that I've literally had my partner right there that could fix the part that I'm sitting here struggling, trying to, man, how do I handle this? How do I do all this right here? And it's right there, kind of get the tap on the shoulder. Hey, bro, she right there, right?
Yeah.
Everything that you need.
Yeah.
So, and then I think the other thing would be there was a lot of second guessing on my part early, because I wanted to be a perfect husband. I wanted to provide all these things for her. So I'm seeking information from the outside sources and trying to make it work into our marriage, and it ain't working, it ain't fitting. Then I'm getting frustrated because I'm like, it's working over here.
Yeah.
Why ain't it working over here in our marriage? You know what I mean? And that's where we got that. That's why she loves what you said about, each marriage has its own fingerprint. Because of that fact alone, right there, we've got our own band of steel around our marriage, and it's just us. So you got to be able to work on it with her. So those were a couple things that I brought in. Nothing that would be too damaging. Trying to give some of you guys
Oh,
out there hope. Make
Mhm.
sure that you cut off all relationships too. That was just something in our relationship phase early. Um, I didn't I did not cut off relationships appropriately. I would
Mm-hmm.
just say that,
Mm-hmm.
because things picked up and happened so fast between us, and you still got people calling and texting
Yeah.
you, and I haven't
Mm-hmm.
talked to them in I don't know how long. You trying to explain it, but it ain't working. But
Yeah.
since we're married now, 14 years in, yeah, we're all good
I
here.
think sometimes, especially when gentlemen find a woman, they're like, oh, like that stops them in their tracks. Like I knew eventually I wanted this, but I didn't know it was gonna come too soon, too this fast.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they don't know how to transition well,
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
um that can be an issue because that's you're breaking the trust in a foundational moment of your relationship.
yeah.
Love that. I totally agree. We have a question from off TikTok. We have a question from Wealthy Royal. Um, she said, not sure how long they've been married. They've been married 14 years. Then she asked the question, what would they say their marriage finally found its rhythm? Like, at what year did you feel like y'all both hit on all cylinders?
Hmm. To be honest, that's an ongoing thing.
Mm, mm,
Because seasons change, life change, especially when I don't know if you've heard some of our background, but we've gone through the ups and downs of so many different changes
yeah.
that sometimes when you think you finally got that sweet spot,
Mm,
then you got to pivot, right? So I
mhm,
would say, um as far as learning the fundamentals and how to uh navigate those things in a
mhm.
positive manner,
Yeah.
I would say, what would you say, babe?
When we moved here
Yeah.
to Houston,
So what was that, year 10?
that was, yeah, year 10.
About year 10,
About year 10.
where
Year.
we finally
Hmm.
learned how to take all the elements that we were building and learning and actually implementing it. But
Gotcha.
I would say be mindful that that's an ongoing thing in marriage, and
Yeah.
maybe that's something that I think people don't realize about longevity in marriage. You're always growing, you're
Mm,
always changing, and you have to be willing to grow and change with your partner.
yeah. Yeah.
Because what works in year 5 may not work in year 10.
That's a good
Yeah.
question.
That was a very good question.
Yeah. 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 Wealthy Royal. Yeah. She wants to know. Yeah.
Hey,
Because,
wealthy royal.
yeah. And I think that's good because sometimes, especially, as black folk, we always like to repeat ourselves. It's like, how do you know when you married?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like, when you really locked in. And I like the part that Alicia, like you talked about how the healthy parts really started to intertwine, like when you really learn how to fight fair, and when you know how to communicate better, and where it's like I can anticipate your needs, or just those kind of things where you kind of, it's like that one flesh, like you really starting to be locked in now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
She said thank you for answering my question. uh what conversation should every engaged couple have before saying I do that many couples avoid?
Mm. You want to take the lead on this one?
Yeah, I think they need to talk about everything.
Everything.
Yeah, talk about everything. Don't leave
Anything and
anything off the
everything
table.
that could come up, that will come up, that should
Uh,
come up, everything.
get it out the way so that you guys have a clear understanding of the expectation on both sides before we enter into this marriage. What the real deal breaker in a marriage is, what will cause you to walk away. We understand biblical and kingdom principles, but
Hmm.
realistically, there is a limit that some people they will walk away from,
Yeah.
and you need to know that coming into it. What would it be that I would do, so that way, whoever it is that commits it, don't be surprised if you get those divorce papers or you get
Mm-hmm.
that call that they want to leave because you did exactly what they told you I was going to leave for. So
Hmm.
I'm always going to say, man, have every conversation. Don't leave any rock unturned. If you need to do background checks just to have your own peace of mind,
You
she
never
knows
know.
she's laughing,
Really
but she
bad.
knows I'm serious.
You
Hey,
never
man,
know.
yeah, you can get all that stuff on the internet now. If they lying and you know that they lying, or you just got that feeling, whatever you need to get that peace before you make that commitment, because it's not just a commitment.
To each
It's not
other.
just a paper, man. I know a lot of people say it's just a paper and it's just
Mm-hmm.
business. What my faith and my belief is that, I'm not trying to stand in front of the Lord and explain why I broke a deal that me and him had for me to marry this woman. And I got to explain, well, I just didn't feel like it. I just didn't feel it no more. I didn't like it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? That's not, that ain't going to be my future to have to stand there and explain all that. But I want to be welcomed and good job, my son.
Yeah.
That's what I want to hear more than anything. So always ask every single question. There's nothing too invasive if you guys are talking about being married.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. And just know that it's important to have those conversations prior to marriage, because marriage is not a fix.
Yeah.
Marriage doesn't fix things. And I think some people go into it, oh, if we get married, then this, or if we get married, then but you didn't deal with it prior to. And we can attest to that personally. There's a lot of things that we worked out from our relationships, even within our marriage, because we didn't understand that what I just said. So definitely.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, because as believers, there is a life after this one, and a lot of times I think we don't think about that enough. When the
Yes.
Bible talks about us standing at the judgment seat of Christ. A lot of people, it's like people, only God can judge me. Yeah, you will be judged.
That's right.
Definitely, yeah.
But that's another conversation for another time. But Paris, I like what you said about having that conversation with God. That what role did you play? How did that work out? Because at the end of the day, it's gonna be between you and him.
That's
Like
right.
you said, there's no excuses. Like well, she was getting on my nerves. I'm like okay.
Exactly.
uh, Last question I wanted to ask: how do you protect your marriage when life becomes overwhelming with work, finances, and family responsibilities?
Let me start.
Um, you know, I think back to um, a sermon that Miles Monroe was given when he was talking about Joseph,
Love
and
Mom.
he spoke about not seeing what I actually am seeing right now. No, this is a division that I saw. I'm just paraphrasing what his words were.
Mhm.
And anytime we come into a situation, we come into a conflict, and I think we heard us talk about it briefly. We go back to the drawing board and we will make it clear with each other. Hey, this isn't what we saw. This isn't the vision that we have for each other. This isn't the vision of what our marriage was, what life was going to be like. We knew we would come up against these situations, but we also had a plan to overcome them. Where did we divert from not being on that plan? What happened to where we got off course? And sometimes it's real easy to let some of those emotions, especially when and I talk about consistency all the time, because one thing consistency is going to do is its job. And if you're consistent in one area, it's going to show the results. So if it's consistently a stressful situation for you, or consistent season of financial struggles, it's going to show. So be aware of that. And we are aware of that, how we can overcome them. Take a step back, you realign yourself again, and then you get into what you should be doing as far as making that plan and vision come to life.
Mhm.
I would definitely have to say understanding that your spouse is not your enemy,
Mhm.
and learning how to fight the issues as a whole versus fighting each other during the issue.
Yeah.
Oh, learn fight the problem together and not allow the problem to cause you two to fight each other.
Mhm. Mhm. I love it. Love it. That's so good because, and even with that question, it's like it's important to protect your marriage because it's easy to kind of put your life on autopilot and we just doing what we do.
Mhm.
Next thing you know, 10, 15 years in the past, and you just like, because time be flying. I don't know about y'all, but the older I get, I'm just like,
Yeah,
where did the time go? You know,
Yes.
yeah,
and so I think it's important that we do protect our marriages because at the end of the day, um, and I always tell people, your marriage is a reflection of Christ's love for the church here on earth.
Mhm.
And so, are we being that example of
Mm.
Christ's love. Like, is our marriage, will someone want to know the Lord based on the way we treat
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
you know
That's good.
and that's the goal of my wife and I. Like, does it reflect the kingdom? Does it,
Mhm.
and that's prioritizing the marriage. But anyway, that's my little spiel. um I want to thank you both so much. I think this has been a phenomenal episode. How time fly when you're having fun. I
Yes.
want you both to take some time to let us know what you got going on, what you got coming up, any events, books, how we can find you online, all that good stuff.
You want to start?
Well, I do have a business, Grow to Prosper, the gtpsolution.com. You can go up there, you can see. I use my background in behavioral health as a mental health professional, but also I'm a solution strategist. I help you develop the plan and then we get it done. As well as I do contract work right here in the state of Texas, some of the work that I do. Upcoming, we are finishing up a book that we have been working on in regards to the principles that we use to help overcome some of the difficulties in marriage, but not even just marriage, but relationships alone. If something breaks down, how do you weather that storm? How do you handle those situations? How do you rebuild and rebuild and reclaim that relationship
Hmm.
the way that you would like it? So those are a few of the things that we're working on right now together. And I know she's got a huge lineup of stuff that she's doing on her own.
Yeah.
Yes, Victoria Styles, thank God, is taking off. You can find me I'm here in Houston, Texas, in Vintage Park.
Mhm.
Everyone knows where Vintage Park is. I'm right across from that big movie theater. You can't miss me. So I'm blessed to be thriving in that area. Victoria Styles was definitely something that was birthed while I was working through the grief,
Mhm.
so it definitely has, it's more than just fashion, it's more than just making you look good. That's the easy part, but a lot of my clients, we're dealing with the inner work, right? We're
Mhm.
dealing with the things that a lot of stuff that we're talking about. A lot of my clients are going through transitions. They might be going through divorce or re-emerging after a divorce, and they're like, hey, I want to start over. And
Mhm.
so you can find me thevictoriastyles.com, on Instagram at Victoria Styles LLC.
Mhm.
So yeah, check
Yeah.
me out. And Shon, can I add one more thing to
Go
the
ahead.
question that you asked
Go
about
ahead.
protection in a marriage? One of
Mhm.
the things I would have to say, especially in the world we live in today, I think we would be doing a disservice if we didn't share this. With the world we live in today, with social media and everything, keep your eyes within
Mhm.
versus always looking at what this person might be doing or that person, or what's going on here, going on there. It's easy to get distracted when you're not keeping your eyes on the prize, which is your marriage, and like you said earlier, the vision. So I had to add that because we live in a world where everything is accessible, and sometimes you might be looking at something that you thank God that that couple might be doing this and thriving, but you have no idea what it might have took for them to get there. And they have a certain grace that was on them to get through those things. Don't covet anything of that anyone has, because you might not can withstand the fire that it took to get there. So I would
Mhm.
say, to protect your marriage, definitely keep your focus on
Yeah.
each other versus always looking outward.
I love that. That's good. Yeah, and that's how you close the show right there. That is so good. Yeah, because everybody's worried about what everybody else is doing. Keeping up with the Joneses. Even the Joneses trying to keep up with the other Joneses now. It's not just the Joneses anymore. They're trying to keep up with everybody else. And like you said, everybody don't. It's interesting how people want what you have, but they don't want to do what you did to get it.
Ooh,
That's right.
yes.
You know, they want what you have, but they're not willing to put in the work. Um, yeah, so that's how you end the show. Wealthy Royal said, "I'm glad I came at a divine God timing. She showed a lot of love today. She said this was amazing.
Thank
So,
you,
Thank you.
lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
yeah. So Yeah, so this will be available for replay. Don't hang up yet. Brave Hearts community, you heard it here. So I'll have everything linked in the description below. I'll have their links available. So if you want to reach out and contact them, I'll have that in the description. Make sure you share this episode with your friends. You never know who needs this. You know, if you're getting married, put it in your group chat with your friends. Watch the episode, come back and talk about it later, all the other good stuff. You just never know. So make sure you share this video with someone. If you are listening to this, Wealthy Royal said, I can't wait to show my husband this video. Yeah, there's a date.
Definitely, girl.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
don't think when you're in a marriage and you find yourself in the rough patch, it's not too late to apply a lot of the
That's right.
elements. That's why I said I'm the start over queen. I'll be like, hold up, this ain't let's start over. He be like, babe, we start over every month until we get it right. You right.
amen for a fresh start, right?
That's right.
Amen for that. That is so good to start over. That's good. I like that. If you are listening to this on Apple Podcasts, leave a rating and review. Would love to hear your feedback. It also puts you in a drawing for a free Amazon gift card. Let's just have an honest rating and review. Would love to hear what can we improve on. What are we doing good already? So let us know, and we would appreciate the feedback. And so this is Shon Hyneman with my special guests, Paris and
And Alicia Dancy.
our Brave Hearts community. We are out.
See
Bye.
y'all.